Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to discuss a fascinating and culturally rich topic, the historical evolution of Japanese traditional bathing culture. You may have heard that in ancient Japan, public bathhouses practiced mixed-gender bathing. This might sound incredible to modern people, but it was indeed a real cultural phenomenon in Japanese history. So, how did this tradition form? And how did it change with the times? Today, we'll dive deep into this intriguing cultural history. Chapter 1. Origins of Bathing Culture. To understand Japan's mixed bathing tradition, we first need to go back to the origins of Japanese bathing culture. In ancient Japan, bathing was initially a religious ritual related to Shinto's misogi, meaning purification of body and mind through water. After Buddhism was introduced to Japan in the 6th century, temples began building bathhouses for monks and worshippers. These temple bathhouses, called yudo, gradually opened to the general public, becoming the prototype of public bathing. During the Edo Period, 1603 to 1868, with urbanization, public bathhouses called sentō rapidly spread in major cities like Edo, modern-day Tokyo. Since most residences at that time lacked private bathrooms, public bathhouses became an indispensable part of daily life. These bathhouses were not only places for cleaning the body, but also important social venues. People exchanged information, discussed business, and maintained relationships there. In the early and middle Edo period, many public bathhouses indeed practiced mixed-gender bathing. This was considered completely normal at the time, and nothing particularly unusual. Chapter 2. Why mixed bathing tradition? Modern people might ask, why did Japan accept mixed-gender bathing back then? There are profound cultural and social reasons behind this. First, we need to understand that different cultures have vastly different concepts of body and privacy. In Edo period Japan, nudity itself was not considered shameful or sexualized. Bathing was seen as a purely cleansing and relaxing activity, unrelated to sexuality. This concept aligned with the overall values of Japanese society at that time. Second, economic factors also played an important role. Building and maintaining two separate bathing facilities for men and women was costly. For ordinary sentō operators, mixed bathing was a more economical choice. Third, social class differences also influenced bathhouse culture. The wealthy could enjoy private bathrooms at home, while common people relied on public bathhouses. For the working class, bathing was primarily for cleaning the body and recovering strength, with social functions also being important. It's worth noting that, although it was mixed bathing, there were certain social norms and etiquette. For example, people would use small towels to cover certain parts of their bodies, and there were unwritten behavioral codes in the bathhouses. Those who violated these rules would face social condemnation. Chapter 3. The Great Change brought by Meiji Restoration. In 1868, Japan entered the Meiji Restoration period, a major turning point in Japanese history. The Meiji government promoted the slogan civilization and enlightenment,
isn't it?
vigorously learning from Western culture and institutions.
Guests.
When Western
We have
missionaries
come in
and
peace.
diplomats came to Japan, they were shocked by the mixed bathing tradition, considering it uncivilized and immoral. In Western Christian culture, the body was seen as something that should be covered, and public nudity was unacceptable. Facing Western criticism, the Meiji government, in order to establish an image of a civilized nation internationally, began taking measures to restrict mixed bathing. In 1869, Tokyo Prefecture issued a ban requiring public bathhouses to implement gender-separated bathing. Subsequently, other major cities followed suit. However, this change was not immediate. In rural and remote areas, the mixed bathing tradition continued for much longer. On one hand, this was due to economic reasons. Building two sets of facilities was expensive. On the other hand, traditional concepts were deeply rooted, and people didn't see anything wrong with mixed bathing. This urban-rural difference persisted into the 20th century. Even when mixed bathing was legally prohibited, many local hot springs maintained this tradition, especially in small mountain hot spring inns. Chapter 4. Further changes after World War II. After World War II, Japanese society underwent even more profound transformations. During the American occupation, Western values further penetrated all aspects of Japanese society. In 1948, the Japanese government enacted a stricter public bathhouse law, clearly stipulating that public bathhouses must be gender separated, with exceptions allowed only under specific conditions, such as family bathhouses and certain traditional hot springs. With rapid economic development, more and more families acquired private bathrooms, and the social function of public bathhouses gradually weakened. By the 1970s, most urban residents no longer relied on public bathhouses. However, hot spring culture, as an important component of Japanese traditional culture, was preserved and developed. Modern Japan's hot spring tourism industry is very prosperous, but the vast majority of hot spring facilities practice gender-separated bathing. Chapter 5. Contemporary preservation of tradition. Although mixed bathing is very rare in modern Japan, it hasn't completely disappeared. In some remote mountain traditional hot springs, the mixed bathing tradition is still preserved. These places are usually small, family-run hot spring inns, where mixed bathing is considered part of historical cultural heritage. However, even in these places, there are strict etiquette rules, such as wearing special bathing garments. Additionally, kashikiri-buro, private reserved baths, are very popular in Japan. This is a type of private hot spring that can be used exclusively by families or couples, providing privacy while allowing family members to enjoy the hot spring together. Interestingly, in recent years, some hot spring areas have begun offering mixed bathing experiences as cultural tourism projects to attract tourists, but these all have strict management and clear cultural education purposes. Chapter 6. Cultural reflection. What insights does this history bring us? First, it reminds us of cultural relativity. What is considered normal in one culture may be completely unacceptable in another. There is no absolute civilization or barbarism, only different cultural traditions and values. Second, it demonstrates how culture evolves with changing times. The transformation of Japanese bathing culture from mixed to separated bathing reflects the collision and integration of tradition and foreign culture during the modernization process. Third, it makes us think about how to protect traditional culture while modernizing. Japan, while accepting Western influence, also strives to preserve and pass on its own cultural characteristics. This balance is worth learning from. Finally, this history also reminds us to view different cultural traditions with an open and respectful attitude, avoiding judging all cultures by a single standard. Ending. Alright, that's all for today's sharing on the evolution of Japanese traditional bathing culture. From the mixed bathing tradition of the Edo period, to the cultural shock of the Meiji Restoration, to the preservation of tradition in modern society, this history is both fascinating and thought-provoking. It's not just about changes in bathing customs, but a story about cultural identity, the modernization process, and the eternal tension between tradition and change. If you're interested in cultural history topics, please subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. Tell me in the comments what you think about this history, or what other cultural topics you'd like to learn about. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.